Hi guys, welcome to Food with Chetna. I have got a very special guest for you guys. Alissa is here and she is a very good friend and she's a cook and she runs a very popular supper club called Kino Vino. And thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure, thank you for having me. So we're gonna make some pancakes, which are probably the most traditional Russian thing you can imagine. And it kind of dates back to pagan times because it's a symbol of the sun. And I think it's quite interesting that here in the West, generally we think of blinis as small canapé things.
Yes, I would have thought that.
Yeah. Whereas in Russia, blini actually refers to the big, flat, thin one. So like the French crepe would be the equivalent.
Wow, and we're making a sweet version today.
Yeah, you can stuff them with all sorts of things. So it can be a dessert, it can be a snack, it can be savory kind of meal, or it's kind of like a flatbread,
and then you make the flavors according to yourself.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it already. So where do we start and how can I help?
So they're very simple to make. It's basically flour and milk.
Okay.
And the proportions are kind of the amount of flour and then double the amount of milk.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of as much as you want to make. So for us, we're making about 10.
Okay.
And that means we have about 125 grams of plain flour,
okay.
And then we have 250 grams of full-fat milk.
Perfect.
So what we need to do is just sieve the flour into a bowl. The sugar really depends on your personal taste, and then obviously like what kind of
sweet.
Filling.
Really
so we
sweet,
can make them quite sweet, or we can make them mild, and then we use the filling to make it sweeter.
Okay.
So I would normally, for the sweet ones, I would normally just do like kind of half a spoon.
Okay, half a teaspoon.
Yeah, and then also a bit of salt, just to have a bit of kind of balance, like half a maybe a quarter of a teaspoon.
Okay.
And then we just pour in the milk.
Mixing the whole time.
Mixing the whole time.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, we add a bit of boiling water, just like a tablespoon.
Yeah.
It helps to kind of get rid of all the last lumps, if there are any. And then the last thing we add would be an egg. Mix that in, and that's it. The batter is ready.
So we've got a hot non-stick pan.
Yep. And then some butter, and yeah, normally they're made with lots of butter, but what I like to do is to just, once you melt the butter, just give it a little wipe so it's not kind of really heavy buttery thing. And then we'll do like half a ladle and then start swirling it around. So we'll give it, I think it's usually about like 40 seconds on one side, and then once the edges start to curl, you can see that it starts to cook.
Okay, yeah, it's just
and then it's easier to pick it up. Yeah.
So it doesn't get any color then?
Oh no, it should get color. I think we need to increase the heat a bit. Yeah, it needs to get
very little,
kind of browny.
Okay. So can you make them in advance and keep
Well,
them?
absolutely. And then when you stack them together, normally you would put like a little bit of butter in between, so they. Once you heat them up, they get nice and buttery, and then it's quite easy to separate them. And yeah, it's basically, I think, like a lot of Russian dishes, it's kind of the more butter, the better.
The more butter, the better.
It sounds good.
Yeah. The more butter, the better. That's going to be my saying from now on.
Yeah, these need to be kind of really moist and buttery. So yeah, that's kind of the
color you want.
The color that you would want. So yeah, there we go. There's one. Yeah, I think it's always quite difficult to measure the exact amount of batter that you need to have on the ladle, but normally it's kind of that size. It's like half.
Okay.
I mean, if they're a bit thick, then it's not the end of the world.
No. Now the filling.
Now it gets a bit confusing. So the blinis, once they're stuffed in a specific way, then they become blintzes, which is a traditional Jewish way of having pancakes. But again, it's a very Eastern European. Blintzes, yeah.
Blintzes.
So we're turning our blinis into blintzes.
Okay.
So the traditional blintz would be using some kind of a dairy filling.
Yeah.
With sugar and eggs, raw eggs, and then you bake it in the oven. But what I like to do is just kind of make it a bit fresher and less heavy, and to add a bit of fruit to it as well.
Yeah.
So quite like making the apricot and ricotta cottage cheese filling.
Lovely.
You just mix the equal quantities.
So that's 250
together.
grams.
So it's cottage cheese, and then the ricotta, they just go into the...
So that is 250 grams ricotta cheese and 250 grams of
cottage cheese. Yeah, because cottage cheese is quite kind of tangy and salty, and then we kind of make it a bit more mild.
Okay.
We put in 250...
Same amount of
apricot. And again, this filling is probably a bit too much for the 4 we have. But
if we made 10 blinis from the mixture,
then that's perfect.
Be enough. Yeah.
And then it's also quite lovely as a spread that you can be imaginative with and then use it.
What about on toast?
On toast, I was just going to say on like nice sourdough toast or something, that would be delicious. So then we add a bit of sugar, so probably 2. You can always like sprinkle with more.
Cover it with caramel.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll let you do this because that looks smooth.
Oh, okay.
And then we just
whisk
put it.
What smooth paste is it?
Into
So we don't add the fresh ones in here.
No.
I thought you were gonna. Oh, I see.
So now we're gonna roll them. So just again, like I guess just a full tablespoon.
Yeah.
And then we roll it kind of like a burrito. I guess that's the only equivalent.
Yeah, or a Swiss roll.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And there we go. So now we would quickly fry them in some butter, just to give them a bit more butter and just a bit more color.
Or just drizzle some honey on it.
Oh, honey, yeah.
So it's just grilled apricots in butter.
Yeah. And then just to add a bit of crunch, because it's quite creamy and soft, a bit of flaked almonds. And voila, that's it.
It's my favorite time of the day, which is to eat.
Yes.
Oh my God, they smell incredible, look incredible. It is perfect. It's not like very little or not overly sweet, but that honey works so well.
Yeah.
That crunch just gives it the perfect finish. But the dried apricots with the cheese is just, I've not had this combination before.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that.
Oh, that is so good, guys. You can find all about Alissa and her supper clubs and all about her food. Follow her on Instagram, but do visit her website, kinovino.org.
That's the correct one.
I will leave all the links in the bottom description box. But thank you so much for coming. And we will also be making a savory version in a bit. So you can check out the recipe when it's out. Thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure.
I'm
Thank you so much for having me.
And enjoy
all of it.